Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Ace Attorney Investigations 2 Prosecutor's Gambit, where I realized at the end of the last episode that I had left my camera on from what I had been recording previously and didn't notice the entire episode. So the reason I haven't been doing camera on this is because when I was doing Spirit of Justice, there were a couple times where I was worried my face was covering up something I needed to investigate. And with this one having a little bit more moving around, I want to risk that as well. So sorry about the one random episode with the camera. It's going to be the only one just because I don't want to risk messing things up. So sorry about that. Anyway, Knight's Gambit, where I'm pretty sure he's the one who killed Rook.
As soon as I shot that balloon, I rushed over to help Rook escort the president back onto the plane. I left Rook here in this room while I secured the president in the safe room. When I came back out, Rook was lying there on the ground. This journalist must have shot Rook while we were escorting the president off stage. That single killer shot was fired by the gun you found in the trash can.
Wait, hold on. I have so many issues with that.
So you don't actually know when the victim was struck by the bullet, do you?
The knight doesn't protect the Rook, Edgeworth. He protects the king.
You want to translate?
He means that his only concern was protecting the president.
Lose the king and you lose the game. Isn't that the first rule of chess?
That's fair, actually.
But a win in which a key piece is sacrificed is a hollow victory indeed.
Is it? I mean, in real chess, obviously not in real life. That's a little bit different, but
doesn't matter. It's still a victory. I kept the president safe. I win.
Well, it's a bit early to be calling our little match in any case, for this is where our battle really begins.
I should over to help Rook escort the president back on the plane. I feel like that's true.
The victim really didn't take in part in your little plan then, did he?
Nope. We kept him in the dark on the details.
So he really thought the president was in danger? But wait, he must have noticed that the shot came from right next to him.
Maybe he did. Guess we'll never know. And even if he did know, it was a sham. He still had a job to do. He still had to protect his king.
He was able to make a judgment like that in a split second. Impressive. He really was as capable as they say.
Not so capable that I couldn't read him like a book. I made it so he had no choice but to go along with our little performance.
In this room, I secured the president in the safe room. Okay.
Why do that? You and the president both knew the whole thing wasn't real.
But it had to seem real. There were people everywhere. It's not a good look, right? Imagine if someone had spotted a man who'd just been shot at, hanging out in his plane sipping grape juice like he didn't have a care in the world.
What was the victim doing during all of this?
Who knows? I was in the safe room, like I said. Anyway.
Rook was lying there on the ground.
Where on the ground exactly?
Right where he is now, in the middle of the floor. The door to the outside was shut, though. Guess the bullet must have hit him right before he closed it. Thanks to his little blunder, my whole plan fell apart.
Mr. Knight, you mustn't talk that way.
He may have kept you safe, Mr. President, but he isn't here to save your good name. I'd call that dereliction of duty. What would you call it?
An honorable try, which is more than what you'd give, I'd say.
Sorry, but that's just how it is.
We were escorting the president off stage. I feel like that's probably going to be pretty easy to poke a hole in.
Weren't you and Mr. Rook both carrying bulletproof attach cases?
Yeah, opened them right after Rook spotted the laser sight. We moved into covering positions and used them to shield the president.
So the bullet that hit Mr. Rook traveled through a gap in that defensive shield. Do you really believe Miss Lloyd to be that skilled a marksperson?
No, she was aiming for the president. That makes her a lousy shot.
So it was pure coincidence that Mr. Rook was hit, and the bullet simply happened to find its way past your attach cases and through the gap in his vest.
Seems crazy to me too, but the facts are the facts. It was a shot in a million, but the shooter hit the bullseye, and the proof is in your hands.
Do I have something on this? Found trash can. 2 spent bullets. So then what would the other shot have been? I want to press this or just... Ooh. 2 spent bullets. Yeah, that single killer shot. There we go. Plus now I can see my health again.
So you contend that it was you who shot the balloon and Miss Lloyd who shot Mr. Rook. Are you sure about that?
Yeah, sure, I'm sure.
Well, what you propose would indeed match up with the total number of shots heard. The gun from the trash can itself has also been fired twice.
Whoops.
Why would the supposed number of shots heard from this gun differ from the number of spent rounds? It's simple, because it was planted. Planted by the real perpetrator of the crime.
Somebody faked the evidence? Yeah, so if it was put beforehand, that would make sense.
Yes, and if you think about it, their reason for doing so is obvious. To ensure that whoever found the gun would conclude that the shooter had been in the spectator area. And in order to do that, they had to make it seem as if both shots had come from this one weapon.
I get it, so that's why it's got 2 spent rounds, huh?
Precisely, as we have already proven, the bullet that burst the balloon came from a different weapon. Which makes it entirely possible that the bullet which killed Mr. Rook didn't come from this gun either.
Nice work, Edgeworth. That's some high-grade sleuthing. Why don't you get to the point? You've come this far. Spit it out.
No, I intend to, don't worry. The person who really shot Mr. Rook was... you.
Take that!
You, Mr. Knight, you're the one who murdered Mr. Rook.
Oh, finally got up the courage to say it, huh?
Surely not. Surely you wouldn't have. It wasn't only the killer who tried to take advantage of this fake murder plot. You killed Mr. Rook hoping that he would look like an accidental victim of the bungled assassination. With the president locked away in the safe room and the door of the airplane tightly closed, it was just you and Mr. Rook alone, together. That was when the third bullet was fired, right into your colleague's body.
Objection!
Wait, you're really gonna claim there's a third one now? You just said only 2 gunshots were heard. Wanna tell me how that works?
The airplane cabins are practically soundproof, Mr. Knight. If you close the door, nothing can be heard from the outside, not even gunfire.
But wasn't the president right next door? Very true, which means he may have heard the shot himself.
Well, Mr. President,
I didn't hear anything.
but you can observe this room through your security feed, can you not?
The camera in this room isn't normally on. I have to manually switch it on when I enter the safe room.
And that's what you did this time too, right?
Well, that is...
It's gotten into him.
Mr. President, this is vitally important.
Please, President Wang.
Fine, I was busy hiding under the bed covering my ears.
Wait. But it was fake. What? Even though you knew the whole thing wasn't real?
Yes, because I hate the sound of guns. Just a slight hint of that awful noise and, oh, it's just too much.
Fantastic. Yep. Oof, that there's sadder than a pot of overcooked crawfish.
Mr. Knight, you saw that President Wang was cowering beneath the bed. And what's more, you knew from the Outer Bank that the security camera for this room hadn't been switched on, which means you knew that the circumstances were perfect for you to fire the third shot straight at Mr. Rook.
Knight, how could you? Could you really have betrayed my trust so horribly? You think I killed the old half-wit? You don't trust me much, huh? This is the thanks I get for putting my life on the line for you day after day. I'm want to believe you, but... I don't get it. I just don't get it. What is there to doubt here? What, you don't believe that girl over there could have done it?
No, because this gun isn't the murder weapon. We know this from the number of bullets fired.
Yeah, well, how do you know there wasn't a spent bullet from the start?
What?
Someone could have fired a bullet from that gun yesterday or the day before. Then today another bullet. The bullet that hit Rook.
That's pure speculation, pal, and you know it.
Maybe, but can you prove it's not true?
Not with any certainty, no.
You're nothing but conclusive proof, so come on, a single piece of evidence straight through my heart. I dare you. Well, what are you waiting for?
There must be something, mustn't there, Mr. Edgeworth? If we can't prove it, Tabby's... Please, Ruffles. I messed up, I know I did. I should have never have done what I did, not even for a scoop. But murder, nah, that ain't me. Ain't murder's bone in my body. Conclusive proof? If only I could prove that Knight's gun is the murder weapon. Wait, perhaps I can.
If you at least had the bullet that burst the balloon, you might have had a scrap of credibility. Imagine you could have run forensics to see if it matched my gun.
At the bullet that killed Mr. Rook. Forensics could tell us which gun it was fired from.
No proof, no case. End of conversation.
Hold it right there.
What now? You're not about to claim you do have proof.
Of course I do.
This ought to be good. Alright, bring it on. Show me this proof of yours.
The bullet that killed Mr. Rook is the key to ending our little game.
Very well, my conclusive evidence is...
not in my possession.
not currently in my possession.
Alright then, thanks for playing, folks, but that's game over. Wait, what?
However, it is here in this room.
What?
As we know, the bullet that killed Mr. Rook passed through his body. But where did it end its journey? Perhaps we should cast our minds back to an earlier conversation? After passing through his body, the bullet that took Mr. Rook's life then found itself lodged in the vest.
He's right. If the president hadn't been wearing that vest, things could have been a lot worse.
But now, of course, we know that the so-called assassination attempt was a complete fabrication. The vest was prepared in advance made to look as if it had been hit by a bullet. Which begs the question, where is the real bullet?
I like it. A twist. This stuff is good, Edgeworth. Come on, then. Don't keep us in suspense.
Point to where the bullet that killed Mr. Rook might have ended up. Bullet passed clean through his body. Oh!
Take that!
There's something very clearly missing from this room.
Yep.
Yes, a prosecutor with some common sense.
Take a look at the bank of security monitors.
Like the one that isn't a monitor.
Oh. I see you've caught on, Mr. President. Splendid. These are screens here showing views from all around this airplane inside and out. The only external angle not covered is the right-hand side of the aircraft. That's because one of the monitors is missing.
Yep.
Nah.
There was a monitor in that space previously, wasn't there, Mr. President?
There was. I have no idea what my plushie's doing there now, though.
It appears to be someone's vain attempt to hide what is obviously lacking. But where did it go and why? The why is easy enough to answer, because it was struck by a bullet. For if we were to believe that the bullet in the vest was for the real deal, then anything that hinted at the existence of another bullet had to be removed.
So where did the missing monitor go?
Where indeed, I believe that it must be hidden somewhere on this plane. After all, there wouldn't have been time to dispose of it outside of the aircraft. And Detective Gumshoe, conduct a search if you would.
Right away, sir.
Mr. President, extraterritoriality, remember?
I have no objection to the search. Please, go ahead. Help us discover the truth behind what happened to Rook. I will not stand in your way.
What are you? I don't believe this. Rook this, Rook that. Don't you ever think about anybody else?
The search has been authorized, Detective, if you wouldn't mind.
Sir, found the monitor.
Excellent work. Now go ahead and extract the bullet.
Let's see. If I put my hand in here and just... Come on, come on, come on. Got it.
Well, would you look at that blood. This is the bullet that killed Mr. Rook, there's no doubt about it.
You just killed Mr. Rook.
And there you have it, Mr. Knight. The single piece of evidence you requested, straight through your heart. Even if you must now admit, if this bullet didn't come from the Spectator area gun, Miss Lloyd cannot be Mr. Rook's killer.
Got him.
What, no pithy comeback? Detective, have forensics analyze the bullet for striations and compare them with the gun we found.
Yes, sir. We'll get the evidence you need. You can count on it. Alright.
Alright, let's hear what forensic has to say.
Our findings are as follows, sir. Firstly, the blood on the bullet is indeed that of the victim, proving that it was the bullet that killed Mr. Rook. Secondly, we found Mr. Knight's fingerprints on the gun, probably from when I handed all the evidence over to him. Now for the key part, striations. They're not a match, then Miss Lloyd is in the clear. Lastly, the striations of the bullet are a match with this weapon.
What? But how could that be?
No way! Oh, come on. There's no doubt about it, sir. This is the gun that fired the bullet.
How?
Well, isn't that something? Conclusive proof that I was right. What's the matter? You didn't think you had me backed into a corner, did you? Guess you misread the board. Because the only one backed into a corner here is you.
Uh-oh. Knight's counter.
There's no denying it. Forensics proved that the gun and the bullet are a match. The bullet that killed Rook was fired from the gun you found in the spectator area. So who pulled the trigger? It can't have been me. I was up on stage, which leaves your little friend. The hat killed Rook. She's the murderer, and you just proved it. Your move, Edgeworth, but just remember two things. One, where you found that gun, and two, which gun the fatal bullet came from. Wait. Whichever way you look at it, I can't have been the shooter.
How did it come to this?
Me and the president, we admitted to faking the assassination attempt. Now it's your turn to admit something. Who the killer really is.
There's no way Tabby did it, is there?
Don't let him get to you, Kay. We just need to go over his statements again. There must be something further we can deduce from them.
Okay, let's do this, Mr. Edgeworth. Our match.
Hold it!
No, that's...
Objection!
Yeah, he's kind of got us there.
What was it you said that forensics would back you up? How does it feel to be shot in the chest by your own conclusive proof, huh? Not so good, I imagine.
The bullet and the gun are a match, Mr. Edgeworth. That kind of has to mean that Tabby pulled the trigger now.
Even so, I simply cannot accept that.
But sir, there's no denying the evidence. There isn't, so what am I missing? If I assume Miss Lloyd to be innocent, then the gun and the bullet shouldn't be a match. Unless they switch the guns.
What is it, Kay?
I was just thinking, if the evidence points to something that doesn't seem possible, then maybe there's something wrong with it. Yeah.
You're asking me to call the evidence into question.
Well, there's no way Tabby did this, right? So if the evidence says that she did, then the problem must lie there.
You seem very sure about this.
Call it my great thief intuition. Intuition, huh? Still, she could be right. I simply don't believe Miss Lloyd to be a malicious liar, which means... someone who believes that evidence is everything in court. The irony is not lost on me, but... if I were to call a piece of evidence into question, it would have to be... the gun. Something untoward is going on here. It would have to involve the weapon, not the bullet. After all, we only just recovered the bullet a little while ago. Furthermore, we know that Mr. Knight had an opportunity to handle the gun. Now hand over the evidence you have gathered and remove yourself from this place. He handed us back the other gun. If I do as he said, if I were you. This can't really be happening. Can't really be end of the line, can it? Indeed, he had ample opportunity. There's no doubt that this gun is the weapon that was used in the crime, which means it must belong to... gun belongs to Mr. Knight. He switched them around. That has to be it. The one found in the spectator area. Bullet marks and match those of the bullet fired in the instant. Now I gotta prove that.
The bullet that killed Mr. Rook was fired from the gun you found in the spectator area. So you pulled the trigger. Can't have been me. I was up on stage, which leaves your little friend. That killed Rook. She's the murderer, and you just proved it.
Oh, wait. Mr. Knight were to have tampered with the gun somehow. He could have only done it once I handed over the evidence and not a moment before. Is there anything we do, Mr. Edgeworth? There must be something. Yeah, hold on.
Everything thus far has been sound, I'm sure of it, which means we can overcome his defenses this time as well.
Really? Even with the forensics results on his side?
If a testimony is untruthful, there's always a contradiction to be found. Let's listen to what he has to say for himself one more time.
There's something in there I didn't like. Who pulled the trigger? Can't have been me. I was up on stage, which leaves your little friend. Right? Or was it this one?
Objection!
Yeah, there we go.
Admit it, you switched the guns, didn't you, Mr. Knight? That's why the markings match the weapon in question. It was yours all along.
An intriguing move there, Edgeworth, and...
You must have made the switch when I handed over the evidence, while I was busy trying to make the case for remaining on the investigation. You took the laser sight from the gun we found in the trash can and put it on your own. Then, not long afterward, you handed that gun back to me instead of the one we found.
I did, huh? You think I'd somehow knew you'd find, let alone run forensics on that bullet sometime in the future?
Wasn't taking any chances.
Is that so strange? You're a chess player after all. A man well used to thinking several moves ahead.
I'm flattered, but much as it pains me to admit it, you're overestimating my abilities. Besides, do you even have any proof that I made the switch?
Yes.
The gun is the same model as mine. Weird, sure, but it's just a coincidence. And look, there's a laser sight attached. Also, take a look in the cylinder. 2 spent bullets, just what we'd expect to see. So what proof do you have that I switched the original gun out for mine, huh? None, that's what.
Alright, so I gotta go.
You say I'm overestimating your abilities. You surprise me.
You know, what can I say? I'm a modest guy. More modest than you, that's for sure. Everywhere except the chessboard, that is.
Well, I don't see a chessboard around here, do you?
Shame. Still, I guess that gives you a nice excuse. I didn't mess up, I just didn't have the right evidence.
I don't think I'll be the one making excuses. Rather, I didn't mess up. They just got lucky with the evidence will be your excuse, I'd imagine.
Yeah, hold on. Nope, next one. What proof do I just switch the gun at? Right?
Objection!
Ah!
I got this.
I have your proof right here.
That's your proof? I think you've been working too hard, Edgeworth.
Not the gun itself, the evidence it carries. Evidence that will prove once and for all that it does in fact belong to you.
I'm looking forward to this. Go ahead, make your move. What's about to come into play? The rook, the bishop? Not a pawn, surely.
The evidence the gun will provide that takes the form of
Fingerprints.
fingerprints, namely your fingerprints, Mr. Knight.
Objection!
My prints? Pah, of course my prints are on the gun. You handed it right over to me when you gave up the evidence. How can they not be on there?
What if I told you there are prints on a part of the gun that you shouldn't have touched at any point?
What? Where? You can't prove that.
No, but I can. There's a place where your fingerprints could never have been left if things happened as you say. Let me present the final piece of evidence that will bring our game to its rightful conclusion.
Yep, hold on. Hold on. Can't really get... I'm trying to... Oh, yep.
Here, look closely at the cylinder, Detective.
The bullets fired, but where are the prints we were looking for, sir? Isn't it...
You did indeed switch the guns when I handed you the evidence. But if that were all you had done, your deception would have been easily detected. Because the number of bullets fired by each gun was different.
There were 2 spent bullets in the gun we found. Yeah, but what about Mr. Knight's gun?
We know that he fired 2 bullets from the stage into the balloon. He fired another bullet into Mr. Rook, ending his life. So 3 bullets in total, plus the few odd ones he let loose in shock during our little game. After each shot, he reloaded his gun out of habit. With his bare hands, of course. Officer, where exactly were Mr. Knight's fingerprints found? The ones you mentioned in your report.
Sir, they're found on the exterior of the weapon, but also on the bullets themselves.
I'm not sure they could have gotten there just from me handing you the evidence, Mr. Knight.
That's...
And there we have it, proof that you did indeed switch the guns. This gun, the one which fired the bullet that killed Mr. Rook, it's yours. And in taking his life, you are the true assassin.
Got him.
You checkmate.
No.
Got him.
I was gonna be the new chief of security. That blasted Rook, if it hadn't been for him, I would have been in charge by now. I would have been in control of the whole team. My plan was perfect. The fake assassination was supposed to be flawless.
Alright, apparently we're gonna make up for... Well, we'll see.
Detective Gumshoe.
Right away, sir. Oh, alright.
Curse you, Edgeworth. Our game isn't over yet.
I'm afraid this is as far as we go for today. The next moves we play will be in the courtroom.
But it's not fair. It's not fair.
Got him. I was gonna say, we have a long episode to make up for the short one last time.
Mr. Edgeworth, I owe you a debt of gratitude. You exposed a murderer within the ranks of my own personal guard. I'll not soon forget that.
Suddenly very presidential again now that we're back outside the plane.
I saw it, you know, when I first proposed the fake assassination to him.
You want me to handle it, not Rook?
Rook refused, but I can rely on you, can't I?
Of course, sir. You can count on me. I'll put together a plan that can't possibly fail. And he'll play his part like the pawn he is.
Hatred in his eyes was plain to see. He despised poor Rook. I was not entirely comfortable about moving forward with the knight in charge of our little deception. Looking back, I think he sensed my discomfort. I can't help thinking I played a part in his decision to end Rook's life.
Mr. President, none of this would have happened if you hadn't plotted to fake an attempt on your life. That was your crime. It is a crime you'll have to live with.
You are right. I can only apologize for the part I played. I will no doubt be made to pay for my actions in one way or another. But I thank you nonetheless. You solved the riddle of Rook's demise, and for that, I shall be eternally grateful. I'll be here in your country for a little while longer yet. But when I've returned home, perhaps you will visit us in Jingfa. You will always be welcome.
But he's not stepping down? Alright. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Y'all don't know how grateful I am. All's well that ends well.
Miss Lloyd, the accusation of murder made against you was, of course, entirely groundless, but the fact remains that you were a willing participant in the staged assassination attempt. The police will no doubt wish to speak to you about the matter. You should be aware that you may well be punished for your actions.
I know, and I'm awfully sorry about everything, truly I am.
I understand your desire for a scoop, but there are limits.
There sure are, I got me some serious thinking to do. You did it, Mr. Edgeworth. That was something else. Local prosecutor solves assassination conundrum and earns eternal gratitude of president. How's that for a headline? Hey, there's my department. Mr. Prosecutor, how does it feel to solve such an important case? You must be over the moon. She certainly doesn't stay down for long.
No comment.
Dang, you're one tight-lipped son of a gun.
As well I should be. This case is not over yet.
It isn't? How come, sir?
Because until we unravel the story behind this, the case will never be completely over.
Wait, what? The Steel Samurai. Oh!
Take that!
Oh yeah, Shelly the Killer. The Killer's calling card.
Mr. DeKiller is yet to complete his assignment.
You mean he might still try to murder the president? I hope I'm wrong, but if I'm not, this could all blow up into something more sinister yet.
As one would expect with the attempted assassination of a president, the case was all over the news, and my preparations for Mr. Knight's trial were constantly interrupted by requests from the press. There wasn't a person in the land who didn't know about the case. Everybody was talking about it. But in the midst of the frenzy that followed, nobody noticed that this was only the first move in a game far bigger than any of us could have imagined.
We did it! Turnabout trigger. Alright, we'll go ahead and call it an episode there. That was a really cool case. I cannot wait to see what is next. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.